Yesterday I made a kind of a haphazard video talking about the new Harbor Freight Leatherman Wave clone. Well, kind of a Leatherman Wave Charge hybrid. But I have a lot more questions about this tool that can only be answered by taking it apart. So today we're going to do some investigatory work. We're going to take this thing apart and we're going to see what they have going on under the hood. I have questions like, are the pivot sizes the same? If they are, this could be converted into a pocket knife that has tools on both sides potentially. There's a lot of interesting questions that can be answered by taking things apart, so I definitely want to try it. That's what we're going to do today. So if you want to see that, stick around. So we got this loaded into a vise, and the first question I want to have is, are the pivots on the plier side actually captured, meaning are they kind of connected to the frame so that you can unscrew them with a single screwdriver, or do you need both? Is it free floating? So that's going to be answered hopefully in just a second. And it appears I can feel resistance, no resistance, resistance, no resistance, resistance. So it does look like, at least on this side, so this is the blade side, it might be captured on that side. And so, aha! This is not moving, so you only need a single, interesting, so you only need a single screwdriver to take this apart. Now, if I was using this on a Leatherman Wave, I would have to actually arrest it. I'd have to use T10 security Torx. This is a T8, I believe. Yeah, just a plain T8. I will also mention these long Weehaw bits. Somebody told me about these. They are the strongest right here that I have had. None of them have deformed, even the T6s. So really like those bits, by the way. All right, so let's start taking this thing apart. So that's outside. We'll kind of try to arrange it. So screw, outside washer. Oops, sorry, we're having a little focusing problem. Can't do both at the same time. So we got that, and then I probably should have grabbed the tweezer. You know, let me go grab a couple more tools here. Okay, so let's pull this off. So there's a small bronze washer on the inside. This is something I'm really liking about what they've done here. Now, is there any damage to this? So not a super high quality bronze washer, but still not bad. And you can see right here, let me take this out so you can see it. That is absolutely a captured pivot. And it's big. It's a big old boy. My guess is that these are different sizes, if that's how big that is. We're gonna find out in a minute, but it looks like it could be 5 mil. That's my guess. It would make sense because of where it's made for it to be 5 millimeters. So because I have locked it in place, okay. Now here's the thing. I never found a very good method to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of here. I'm going to use this to pop this out. It doesn't go through all the way. There we go. Now this is going to be very hard to get back together, much harder than a normal wave. And the reason is around the plier head, we have 2 bronze washers on both sides. So that's going to be over here. And then these, grab these out. 1 and 2. These are very thin. Now what's nice too is that these kind of components, these ultra thin bronze washers, are not the easiest thing in the world to source. So this could be a good place to source it. Other than that, it looks quite similar. One thing somebody did mention, and I agree, one of the best things about a Leatherman, one of the reasons why they're more expensive, is they have this special locking mechanism. You see this little tab? When you open the pliers, check this out, that tab comes out and locks the blade in place. Really cool feature that has been around since the second introduction of the Wave. Very cool. Anyway, this doesn't have that, which is not surprising considering that the cost, right? It's not surprising. It does have a similar split spring, but definitely doesn't have that. So we have this taken apart. Now, is this actually a screw? Now, the one other question I have is this a screw head on both sides or just on the one? is some serious... my guess is it's a screw head on both sides. I can't get this stupid washer off. Okay, so we'll leave it as is. Yeah, my guess is that this is a barrel and then that's another screw. I'm not 100% sure on this, but that's my guess. Now, the other thing we want to do is check the dimensions. I think it's going to be 5 mils. It's actually not 5 mil. It is something else. Huh, it's 5.5 mils. Could it be? No way. There's no way. Hold on a second. So in case people were wondering about obsession, I have probably 20 or 30 Leathermans in pieces, among other things. And I do normally have calipers, but they're out of batteries. I need to get a really good dial caliper, like a proper one. But I wanted to see something here. Holy, no way. No freaking way. No freaking way. Oh my gosh. They have literally copied the size of the... No way. There's no way. Hold on a second. I gotta grab a frame. Okay, so... open this up. So I have a whole bunch of spare frames from various different multi-tools. Let me open this up for a second. I want to grab Leatherman wave handle. That's not Leatherman wave handle. Here we go. So here's a Leatherman wave handle. So I have a bunch of these taken apart. Let me just take this out real quick. There's no way. Yeah, they did it. They literally made the same size pivot. So if you don't know, and I'll write it here, Leatherman went out of its way to make obscure sizes in its pivots. So the pivot for the plier head on most Leathermans is, and it's been true since the original PST, I believe, is 7/32 of an inch. 7/32 of an inch. 7/32. Yeah. What is it? 32. Yeah. So I can't remember. I'll put it right here. And then the plier head, this side right here, is 5/32 of an inch. Yeah. So it's 7/32 of an inch here and 5/32 of an inch here. 30. Yeah. Okay. You know what I'm talking about. I wrote it down so you can see it. So far, this is literally the same size. Although the Leatherman wave clones have 5mm pivots, both in the plier head as well as the other section. This is amazing. As someone who mods things, having washers that are spare that I can utilize on Leatherman mods, and also the same pivot sizes, potentially even being able to replace a Leatherman pivot with this one, is so convenient for me. It opens up a wide range of possibilities. Now, the tang and the lock mechanism is not going to be the same, I can tell you that. There's definitely a slight difference in the way these function. Or is there? Okay, we need to try this. There's no way, right? There's no way. It can't be. That would be hysterical. I'm not going to fully do this, but you get the idea. So we'll go there, and then we need the serrated blade here. This is from the clone. Everyone's like, "Hey, how do I get a surge blade?" Is it even the same screw size? I'm using a Leatherman wave screw. There's no way. Oh yeah, because it's T10. I don't think that's the same screw. So you got to use the screw that's provided. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. There's just no way. There's no way this works, right? Of course, got to take this out. I know these videos are a little chaotic, but they're fun for me, and I like messing around with things. So I figured you might as well be here for it. The magnet on the PB Swiss is ridiculously strong. So it's almost impossible when your hands are a little sweaty to... Okay, so so here's the thing. Does not engage the frame, does not engage, I don't think it engages the frame. Does not engage the frame, does not engage the lock bar. So there is some differences, okay. So much so that you can't overcome it. I don't know. I don't know the answer because potentially there's enough metal there. Hard to say. Definitely curious about it, but we're on the same pivot size. That's already a really big benefit. All right, so now we have to ask the question in this frame, is this the same size as the small pivot on the Leatherman wave frame? That's the next question. So let's check that out. A couple things we need to know here. Is this also a captured pivot? My guess is the answer is yes. Is it going to be the same dimensions as the one we find on the Leatherman wave? That's a whole nother ball game. But we know that the width, this overall width, is almost identical. So the likelihood is that the pivot is a relatively similar length. I've never seen one this close, by the way. That's interesting design. Cool. A little spring that actually holds the tension. That's clever. So this, okay, it is D-shaped. This looks like just around. Okay, I don't think this is going to be the same. This might be different. This might be different. Okay, let's take a look at a pivot from the inside of a wave or something similar. Here we go. That is, I believe, from a surge. It's the same. It's the same size. No, this is different. Interesting. Interesting. So the plier head pivot is the same, but the other one is not. This one is 4 millimeter. The other one is some strange 5.5. Below the 7/32 of an inch. Okay, so interesting. You won't be able to exchange those. But is it close enough? The next question is it close enough to pirate these tools and fit it into a Leatherman wave? I have that question as well. So, since we have all the things we need, let's take that out. Also of note is that I didn't mention it yesterday, but this tool has bronze washers throughout, including on the same side as the tools, and it does appear that, you know, are they shaped? They do have like locking versions, which is pretty cool. I like that. So that'll keep it from clumping. So nicely done there. All right, cool, cool. Now, will it function? And we have one right here. Will it function with Leatherman wave? Let me go get the right. I need a T10 security Torx. Hold on a second. Also, something I almost missed. They also have a hidden lanyard ring, just like on the Leatherman wave. Pretty clever, and they hollowed out their injection molded part so it made it a little lighter, something that you don't find on the wave. So that's pretty interesting. Okay, so here's our T10 security Torx. I can't remember which side is. That's the wrong side. And it depends on how I put this together. Okay, I did put it together correctly. I'm not going to go all the way and put everything in here. I just want to see if these tools can be transposed into a wave. That's all I want to know. So here is their micro driver. It's a little bit wide. It's definitely thicker than the micro driver you'll find on the Leatherman wave. This is the wrong pivot size. It might be smaller. Might not work. I mean, I would imagine I could drill it out. The question also is, it does feel like it locks in place to the lock pin with a small adjustment to the hole size, because I think what's happening here is I don't think this hole is big enough. Yeah, exactly. So these tools can be modified if you drill out the hole a little bit, because the locking bar, let me show you. The locking bar definitely engages, 100% engages nicely too. It definitely goes in. So there's not much of adjustment, and if you do adjust it, you want it to be, that's probably about right. Literally just opening up the hole just a slight bit more. Okay, what we have concluded here, a couple things. Number one, the plier pivot is the same size as the one on the Wave. That's amazing because it means I have spare components and spare washers that would fit in that spot. It means I can modify a Leatherman Wave to have multiple versions of these washers, which can themselves be incredibly difficult to source. So I'm happy about all of those things. The blades are close enough that if I really wanted to, I probably could modify, say, the hook blade to fit into a Leatherman Wave platform. And 5CR isn't that far behind 420HC as far as steel goes. That's a couple interesting things that we discovered. The pocket clips do not sync up to each other, and there's no telling whether this is better or worse than the one that is made for the Wave. And I know that one breaks quite often. So my guess, I would assume that they're both equally going to break, but maybe this is better. I don't know. There's no way to know over time. The Gordon one, it actually has a glass breaker end, which is pretty interesting. See right there? So that's something that's different from the Wave. It still has the lanyard ring, which is really clever. They have this little spring tension washer, which what it does is conforms itself and creates pressure against the pivot, so you don't have to tighten it as much. That's a nice addition. All of these little spacer washers were between every tool, meaning there's no clumping. Very interesting things going on here. The other thing we want to check while we're here, since it's the same, look, because remember, it's the same dimensional pivot. This is just around 7 millimeters, give or take. The Leatherman Wave plier head is a little bit wider. It's almost exactly the same, and the difference is going to be, I actually think there's a chance that this plier head could work. I don't have time in this video to show that. We're going to have to play around with it some more. But potentially the plier heads between these two tools is interchangeable. It is possible. It's not a guarantee, but it is quite possible because the pivot sizes are the same. And just like with the Wave, the Gordon has a split spring. So there is a chance that these are actually interchangeable. Why does that matter? Well, personally, I'm not a huge fan of the replaceable cutter system. I've modified an EOD cutter in order to fit in here because, well, the regular cutters right now are kind of crash, junk. I like this kind of stuff. I like to know more about how things work together. But as it sits, this is a pretty interesting place to source things like the hex bit driver, like the Leatherman bit driver. We can definitely source this and potentially modify it to fit into other Leatherman tools. That could end up being a really big benefit. Some people want that, not me, but some people want that. We also have to ask the question, do the ones from the other clones work in here? And the answer is no, because those are 5 millimeter pivots. This is significantly smaller than that. There's going to be too much play, I believe. And I'm not sure if we'll even be able to get a bit driver in this frame without modifying it by shrinking it down. Once you start removing material from that bit driver, it will no longer function properly. It potentially will break. And that's one of the things the clones have that's different from I guess we gotta stop calling them clones, right? Because they technically are quite different, especially now. Like this one, for instance, is like a hybrid with 5 tools in here that we've never seen that before. And the width here is completely different. Like, we're not gonna get this in here. You know what I mean? Without cutting the inside of the frame. We'd have to cut the inside of the frame out to allow it to fit, and even then the pivot sizes are dramatically different. So we have to recategorize these things, I think, a little bit. This is not even the same bit driver system. This has 5 different implements on the other side. It has spare scales, in this case titanium scales. The plier head is different from the ones you will find on the Wave. It's actually closer, it looks similar, more similar to the one you'll find on the Arc. Yeah, I think we're going to have to make a new discussion on general budget-oriented tools. And the Scorden, it has to be in that equation, and where it fits. It's funny to me because if Harbor Freight ends up releasing their own bit kit, okay? If they can release their own bit kit for this that will work with the Leatherman Wave, they may have actually done Leatherman a huge favor, like a massive favor, because their bit system is basically what represents half of the functionality on most of their multi-tools. Most of them need the bit kit, and they have made it very difficult to get and very expensive. If Harbor Freight offers a very inexpensive kit under $10 that contains 20 bits, similar to what the Leatherman offers, it will actually benefit Leatherman. It's so strange, but it really will. Now, that being said, I just realized one last thing I want to point out. I see no reason why you couldn't go the other direction, aka putting a Leatherman bit driver or whatever it is that's from Leatherman into a Gordon multi-tool, because it has a smaller pivot, only slightly smaller, and it looks like the lockup is almost identical. There might be a little bit more play, but otherwise I think it should work. And if you have tools like the rebar that need sourced for a scissor, I think you could easily modify the hole on these to work inside a rebar. There's some backwards compatibility here that will definitely be important for people to know if they like to tinker with their tools. All right, sorry, this video already got longer than it needed to be. I just wanted to play around with it a little bit more, and I figured if I'm doing it, maybe you guys want to know about it too. As always, thank you guys for your time, and we'll talk again soon.